Call to order the Board of Grant County Commissioners Work Session Meeting for March 21st, 2017. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance and the salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among the United cultures.
Are there any changes need to come on the agenda? Can I get a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the work session agenda. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. The general purpose of the county work session is to inform the County Board of Commissioners of the agenda items that will be addressed in the next regular meeting. For the department heads and other elected officials to communicate with the commissioners in regard to matters of their respective departments. In accordance with Grant County Resolution 1601, we welcome the public to attend the county work session. However, there will be no public input permitted in this meeting. First item on the agenda today is review the March 23rd, 2017 regular meeting agenda, so we'll turn the meeting over to Manager Webb.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we'll start with financial reports. Item C, approve, disapprove March 10th, 2017 expenditure report. Linda, would you please go through the highlights of that?
Yes, I will, Charlene. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, in your package you have an expenditure report for approval, and the total sum of that report is $2,771,721.73. This is for the period of February 10th, 2017 through March 10th, 2017. And included in that are accounts payable checks totaling $2,367,281.16. And some of the highlights in that total is a check to Ride Express Fleet Services, and this is for the January 2017 fuel charges. That check is for $21,917.64. There is a check to Morrow Enterprises in the amount of $50,083.63, and this is for the North Hurley Road Construction Colonias project. There's a check to Fuel Center Plus in the amount of $17,318.11, and this is for the January off-road diesel for the road department. And there's a check to the New Mexico Insurance Authority in the amount of $660,530, and this is for the 2017 liability insurance and multi-line and law enforcement liability. There's a check to Zacaton Construction in the amount of $24,169.57, and this is for the final payment for the Forgotten Veterans Memorial at Baton Park. A check to Sedan's Martin Emergency Group. This is for a fire truck for the Fort Bayard Volunteer Fire Department, and that is for $220,091. $191,059 of that amount was a NMFA loan. And there's a check to Cooperative Educational Services, and this is for 3 AC units at the courthouse, and this is for $92,029.84. And there is a check to HCP Systems, and this is for January, February, and March medical management services at the detention center, and that is a total of $51,983. And there is a check to Occam Engineering in the amount of $46,927.66, and this is for engineering services for the North Hurley and Rosedale and the Tyrone Colonias projects. And also included in the packet is payroll checks. Pay period 4 was a total of $200,645.32. Pay period 5 was a total of $203,795.25. So the grand total for payroll for that period was $404,440.57. And the rest of it is your normal operating expenditures. Any questions?
No questions? Moving on to new business. Item D, approve or disapprove proclamation declaring April 2017 as Continental Divide Trail Days. This proclamation is in your packets for you to review. Our assessor will be presenting that on Thursday.
See, he wrote one slightly shorter than the last one he wrote, because he knew I was going to make him read it if he wrote another two-pager.
I think he's fine. Item E, approve, disapprove proclamation recognizing the Silver High School wrestling team for winning the 2017 Class A, Quad A, 4A, whatever, state championship. So the team will be here on Thursday to be presented with that. Item F, presentation regarding the Grant County Local Public Health Office. Their presentation is titled Critical to New Mexico Health and Wellness. That PowerPoint presentation is also in the packets for your review. Item G, approve, disapprove proclamation declaring the week of April 3rd through the 9th as Public Health Week.
And who's after that?
This is Carrie Lemon with the Health Council, related to the previous item. Item H, Grant County Surveillance Program Update. Margaret Begay will be here to give you her annual report.
This is just the whole year's report of what they did with bracelets and monitoring and that sort of thing, right?
She comes more than once a year, doesn't she? It just seems like it.
It's the end of March already.
Been 7 times now.
Seems like she comes in the summer again, though. I don't know. Does a good job.
She usually comes about March because that's the time tax permit.
Good point.
Next item I, approve, disapprove application for law enforcement protection funds for Class 1 municipalities and counties. This is the annual application for LEPF funds for the Sheriff's Department, which is used for purchase of equipment and training. Any questions so far? No? Item J, approve, disapprove the 2017 Volunteer Firefighters Annual Reporting for PERA. It'll be for the following departments: Fort Baird, Pinos Altos, Upper Members, Santa Rita, Whiskey Creek, Tyrone, and Lower Members.
So, will you explain to me this one?
These are annual reporting forms that are submitted to PERA for volunteer firemen to receive service credit through PERA.
And what is that? It's a monetary credit to their PERA account? Is that what it is?
Yes.
And does the county pay that, or that comes from state funds, or how is that?
We don't pay anything out of county. It's either through excise tax or fire protection funds. But do they actually? Linda already left. They don't actually pay something.
Yeah, it comes from state fire funds. They put it into PERA. So it's so you're eligible for it at the age of 50 and 10 years of service. And then
How much is it?
It's $150 a month. And then if you're 20 years of service over the age 50, then it goes to $250 a month. So they cleaned it up a lot, the record, so it's a lot of people don't reach that, so I mean the fund builds up, but it's provided by the State Fire Marshal's Fund.
So you have to have a minimum of 10-year volunteer fire service to start getting it?
Well, there's criteria with it. You have to attend, the amount, 50% of all the trainings, and then 50% of all the business meetings, and all of that is submitted to the State Fire Marshal's office. So the fire chiefs will go through their, they'll submit who they feel is eligible, and then they'll go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on to agreements. Item K, Approve, disapprove agreement number A1706, vehicle use agreement with Hidalgo Medical Services for operations of the senior programs. This is the agreement that is currently on Rick Lopez's desk at DFA for review. There may be some minor changes to this agreement. They may have to bring it back to you, but I would like approval to move forward with HMS. This allows HMS to utilize the vehicles that have been purchased for the senior program to run the senior programs.
And that was purchased with senior program monies.
Yes, and so all of those vehicles will be transferred. Any questions on that?
Lease, right? Not ownership.
Not ownership, it's a trade-in service. Item L, approve, disapprove agreement A1707, lease agreement with Hidalgo Medical Services for use and operation of the Gila Senior Center. This is the agreement that has to be in place to allow HMS to utilize the Gila Senior Center to provide the senior programs. The same thing for item M, approve, disapprove agreement A1708, lease agreement with Hidalgo Medical Services for use and operation of the member senior center. We have to enter into a lease with them to use the facility to provide those programs. Abby has drafted these. HMS has reviewed them, had a few minor changes that have been incorporated, and we have received approval from DFA, correct?
Yes, we will have to get a reapproval for some very minor changes that I don't expect to cause any holdup. So hopefully that'll happen within the next week or so. But we're in good shape on those.
And so their goal is to be in operation at least by the 1st of April?
It won't happen by the 1st of April. We're looking now. There's been hang-ups on their end, on our end, probably May or June.
Okay. But it's getting closer.
It is getting
Baby
closer.
steps. We were looking at maybe doing this the 1st of January, and now it's going to happen, it's going to be better for them.
We do have a meeting with them, the transition team, on April the 4th to hammer out any last-minute issues. So that was the other goal, to have all of these complete.
These leases are at DFA also?
Yes.
Exciting that that is moving forward.
Next item, N. Approve, disapprove agreement A1709, grant agreement with Department of Finance and Administration for Tucasa Continuum of Care Drug Rehabilitation Facility. This is a capital outlay agreement in the amount of $186,000, finally. This was, we had to have the lease agreement approved by State Board of Finance in order for this to be released. So once we got that done, they surprisingly quickly released this agreement. So now this is the last component of Tucasa, so we are moving forward. Any questions? Moving on to resolutions. Item O, approve, disapprove resolution R1710, a resolution supporting the transfer of ownership of historic Fort Bear to Village of Santa Clara. Santa Clara has submitted this resolution and a copy of their business plan. This is a resolution supporting the transfer. It's for your consideration.
How far did the building that going to be giving them a portion of the part, it died, didn't it? And I know the property division was very much against it.
Correct.
Okay.
Why are they against it?
Well, because they don't have the money to manage them.
Financial wherewithal.
Yeah, financially, they don't want to put them in a bind where it's going to break their community when they're already broken. And I think that's the main reason why we didn't take it over as a county, because we're afraid to go on the red and break the county if we were to take over this kind of facility.
And our financials are stellar compared to the town of Santa, or the village of Santa Clara.
So it's something that I wish we could shake a magic wand and give them some money to be able to maintain that facility and that property. But at this point, being that they're in my district, I worry about them. I worry about them quite a bit, and I definitely would not want to give them a piece of property that's going to run them further down in the red. And I'll have more to say in our meeting.
Any other comments or questions on that item? Moving on, item P, approve, disapprove resolution number R-1711, a resolution declaring the vacation and abandonment of Stevens Road. Nisha, do you want to go over this?
We received a letter from N-Cross LLC, J.T. Holloman, Ryan Jameson, Stacy Jameson, and Jeff Hooker, asking the county to vacate and abandon Stevens Road, which is a county-maintained road by prescriptive easement located near Buckhorn. And we researched the road, but we were able to figure out that it is a prescriptive easement. It was not dedicated to the public, or therefore the ground being owned by the county. I worked with Earl Moore to look at the road, our road superintendent, and see if it's something that we needed. It is just those families, those 4 families from the second cattle guard to the end of the prescriptive easement, which is what we maintained. There was an old homestead out there, and I also got with the State Land Office, and the State Land Office determined that there was no legal access to the state land that is beyond where the prescriptive easement ended. So it is our recommendation to vacate and abandon Stevens Road.
Questions?
Vacate the whole thing or just the blue portion?
Vacate from the second cattle guard all the way to the end of the prescriptive easement. Should be marked on your map to show from the second cattle guard. Yes, the end of the prescriptive easement is where there's a wash. The road would cross the wash there, and according to Earl, that's where we would stop maintenance.
So is this the only easement to the state land in the purple on number 16?
So, again, because it's not legal public access, right at the end of the prescriptive easement, they had a wire up that basically blocked the road there. So there was no legal public access to that state land anyway. That's why I got a hold of the State Land Office to verify that. Oh, gosh, I don't know where the wire was.
People have been able to go to that state land for years and years and years.
No, they haven't. That's the weird thing about this one is our maintenance stops before that little private section, and there's never been access for the public to go back that way. It's odd. We really haven't had one similar to this before. And Misha, I read the email from the state. They're saying they think that's private, and they didn't allow public access. It's a ranch road that goes up there.
So this road is maintained by us?
Only up to that area of the end of the prescriptive easement. It's an odd situation. It's not totally clear how the maintenance started. Our best...
Instead of getting rid of it, I'd like to see us try and get the rest of the prescriptive easement to have access to that state land.
well,
Before it ends up like the other areas around here that are landlocked and we can't get into.
Well, that's certainly, you can talk with the state about that, because they're the ones that are having access to their land at that point. So I don't know what it would benefit us if they actually allow the public in there anyway. Again, it's a ranch access to that land is why that road is there, is my understanding. And since there is not a prescriptive easement for that little section, we can't just decide that we can get a prescriptive easement. It's something that happens over time through public use. We would actually have to ask the private owners of the land to give it to us, and it's my understanding that they want that. They don't want to. I don't know if Misha has a different understanding, but the key is that little piece right before you hit the state land is private, and so we don't have control over it.
So in the past, then, from where the current prescriptive easement ends, that road that gives is the only access to that state land, correct? But it's always been a private road.
Yeah.
And so up till now, the public hasn't had access to that land.
That's my understanding, yes.
And so then, in order to have access to that public land, we would either need to extend the prescriptive easement by asking the private landowners to give us easement to that, or build a new road.
It wouldn't be a prescriptive easement, but yes, we would ask the owners, they would have to agree to allow us to, they could dedicate it to us, transfer it to us, something like that, give us an easement, so that, if that's something that the commissioners want to explore with those private owners, certainly ask, but my understanding is that it's the opposite of what they
My
want.
opinion, that they want the road closed to the
Yeah.
public, and they aren't going to give up the rest of that to keep it, so.
I doubt it.
I think you're probably just spinning,
Spinning wheels?
yep.
So my question is there a committee that reviews this before it's presented to the commission?
Chairman, Commissioner Jones, yes.
There is a road abandonment committee that we've put together. The commission appoints, we put it out to the public and ask them to volunteer, and then the commission appoints, and we do have 3 members that are currently sit on that. They did review it. They also had the same concerns that you do. We provided them all the documentation that we could, that we know, talking to the state land office, talking to the private owners, understanding where the prescriptive easement ends, talking to Earl, and they also, at the end, made a recommendation, which should be included in your packet, signed letter. If it's not, I will get it in there, where they recommend that we vacate and abandon the road.
Any more questions?
I don't have any at this time.
Next, item Q, approve, disapprove resolution R 1712, approval for the 2018 capital outlay request application, the 2018 general obligation bonds from the Aging and Long-Term Services Department. Randy, do you want to go through this and give them a brief explanation of what you plan on applying for? Or Misha? Either one.
So, yes, Randy and I sat in on a conference call. This is general obligation bonds that are for the Aging and Long-Term Services, and we decided that we wanted to put in for these bonds. It allows us to make capital improvements to the facilities that we own. In the past, we've done it for all of the senior centers because we were managing the program, and for this year, we're just putting in for the 2 that we actually own the buildings for. We have assisted Santa Clara and the town of Silver City in applying for their own general obligation bonds. One of the big ones that we're looking at doing is because of HMS looking at taking over the program. They would like to combine their facilities in Membris, where they have one facility for the medical, and then they would have the senior center. So we're asking for, I think it's a little over $500,000 to do an addition to our senior center in Membris so that they could combine services there if we get the bond to do it, or the grant to do it. We would be able to build about a 3,000 square foot addition, so they could bring in dental, medical, and mental health services along with the senior center there. So that's the biggest one. The rest of it is to do maintenance on the buildings so that we can keep the buildings up and operational and looking good.
Excuse me, how long is our projected lease or agreement with HMS to run the senior programs? Remind me.
That's a year at a time. Any other questions? Next, item R, approve, disapprove Resolution R-1713, 2017, Grant County Maintained Roads. Earl?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, in your package, you have the mileage that needs to be certified for this year with the added roads from a couple of subdivisions.
Any questions or concerns on that resolution? No? Next, item S, approve, disapprove Resolution R-1714, a resolution against the relocation of Yucca Lodge. Commissioner Ramos requested this item on the agenda. Did you want to discuss it a little bit?
Just when we were over in Santa Fe during the legislative session, we found out that Yucca Lodge was going to be moved over to Roswell, and we were definitely against it, being that when Tucasa was planned, it really took into consideration that there was an inpatient portion already in place, so we did not want to duplicate services at the time. So we went with the outpatient portion. Correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, but so we really felt it was important to do everything we could to keep Yucca Lodge here, being that it was part of our three-part system. First, of course, Gila Regional, which would be a 5-day inpatient, then 14 to 28 days Yucca Lodge, and in and outpatient through Tucasa, which you can see Yucca Lodge would be a real important portion or piece of the puzzle to helping our people that are in need. So we really want to pass this resolution, although I found out this morning that a letter did go out that it has already been moved. So, you know, we really need, we had requested from the health secretary to give us at least a year or two so we can start preparing and figure out how else we could handle this situation. But unfortunately, they've already made the move. We still want to go through the resolution process throughout the Southwest counties and see if we can't get them to split the services or something to that effect.
Well, Gabby did call me on Friday. I missed her call, and I called her back yesterday, and she hasn't returned my call yet. So I assume that what she assured me that she would do is if and when the decision was final, that they would notify us of the time frame that they were looking at of transferring those services.
I don't think there's a problem with sending this, and I want everybody to know that we had 100% of all the representatives and senators in the Southwest New Mexico on board with keeping Yucca Lodge here. And at this time, I would like to ask the other elected officials to please join us in signing this letter when we pass it on Thursday, if that'd be all right with y'all. Thank you. That's all I had.
We'll revise that to include their signatures.
Thank you.
So I don't know if this is the appropriate time to make this comment, but I am just flabbergasted that the state would act so irresponsibly in this matter.
Unfortunately, that happens in many cases.
Let's not talk about reasons right now. We might have a fighting chance, and we don't want a video clip to go someplace that we go viral. Yeah.
And I would say,
I thought of all the reasons myself, and I thought, I'm just not going to say them right now.
well, it seems crazy to me.
Okay, moving on. Item X, quotes and proposals. Agenda item T, approve, disapprove, award management and operation services of the Grant County Veterans Memorial Conference Center. Jacob released a request for proposals for the third time a few weeks back. We were fortunate enough to receive 6 proposals. After reviewing all the proposals submitted, there is a letter from Jacob in your packets. We would recommend moving forward with contract negotiations with the Chamber of Commerce. We felt that they had the most solid proposal that was within what we were looking at budget-wise, And so
What exactly are you asking us?
we are asking for you to award the proposal to them, and the way our RFP works, then you're allowed to, Jacob and I will enter into contract negotiations with them, and then we'll bring the contract back to you for approval.
So this is just a preliminary, so you can
We're
get
saying
into
that we are choosing,
discussions.
yes, so this is saying we are choosing the Chamber of Commerce to do this, and then we will negotiate the contract. That's the way an RFP works.
Chamber of Commerce have anything to say about that?
No, I didn't know that she was going to make that recommendation now. But we spent a lot of time looking at the first two RFPs.
Why don't you come up to the podium? Introduce yourself. I know who you are, but the rest of the world doesn't.
Yeah. My name is Scott Terry. I'm president of the Chamber of Commerce here in Silver City, Grant County. We looked at both the first two RFPs, and there just wasn't any way we could do anything. We tried to put together a very good proposal for this third RFP, and I know that we're going to need to sit and visit with you folks, with the county manager's office, and come up with something that really works for both sides. Our proposal is pretty solid. We'll end up having to hire at least 2 individuals to work for us. I may not be smiling because I'm sitting here thinking, oh man, there's a whole lot more hours on my workload now. But I think we can do a great job of promoting the Conference Center. I've always believed that it's one of those facilities here in Silver City that if we go out and market it properly, we can bring people in from the outside. And that's really what we need, is we need money coming in from outside Grant County to be spent here, and then let those people go home. And if we do a good job, hopefully we'll get them back the next year or maybe the year after that. One of the things that we have discussed, and I know we've discussed it with some folks here with the county, is that the first year, 2 years is going to be tough. A lot of organizations that we're going to try to attract, they book their events 2 years, sometimes 3 years in advance. But we've got to get started now trying to book them for 2018 and 2019. So we feel honored that she's making the recommendation to go with our contract, and we look forward to negotiating with the county.
Scott, who currently sits on your board?
Bruce Ashburn is the chairman. Have Jack Herndon at First Savings Bank. Chip Campbell, who's over at WNMU. Of course, Dr. Shepard is on our board of directors. Melanie Reese from First American Bank. Jeannie Mitchell from the Comfort Inn. Jason Allison from Washington Federal Bank. And I know I'm going to miss some. Dan Cook, who's a local realtor. Gosh, who else on there? Who? Derek. Oh, yeah, Derek Ratcliffe, manager over at Walgreens. We've got a good diverse. We've got retail, we've got hospitality, we've got financial, and we've got education on our board.
Thank you very much. Any more questions for Scott?
So is this available for us to look at?
You can look at them, I'll let you look at them, but it is not good practice, or is it transparent when you're the one awarding the contract and approving the contract to go through the RFPs? There has to be a separation of, it's just like whenever we put an RFP out to construct a building, the architect puts it out, there's a committee that reviews it, and you go with that recommendation that this is the best choice for the county. It's the same with an RFP. You can't be in the middle of reviewing all the RFPs, then be the one that awards the contract.
The one that we're going to approve then?
Sure. Okay. That one I can send to you, but you don't need to.
Before you approve it.
Maybe a ranking of how they came out or something? Can we see
We
something?
didn't have to rank these because we put it out for 3 times.
Okay,
And the
I see.
3rd time, the statute allows you some flexibility to award to the best available option to the county, and that's where we were at. And that language was included in this last RFP.
Charlene, if you don't mind. We expect the fact that we're going to have meetings back and forth. Ours was very much a very general proposal. We tried to be specific in the things that we knew that we could do, and we really need to hear a little bit maybe more about the expectations of the county of what you expect of us as well. So there's going to be negotiations before you get that final contract.
So, the place where we have some say-so in this process is in the contracting process?
Correct.
So who's on this committee?
It wasn't a committee, as I said, it was, Jacob and I reviewed them,
Okay.
because at this point, we have put it out so many times, the statute allows flexibility. So Jacob looked at them, he ranked them, I looked at them, ranked them. We didn't do a formal process, but he put them in the exact same way I did. So I think that we're on the same track with what we were looking for, what we're trying to accomplish. And we felt that the chamber had the best package of services to offer, that the others didn't. One of the things, first and foremost, was their availability to be there Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, because when someone comes to rent the facility or look at the facility, they shouldn't have to see a sign on the door and drive down to someone's business or call. So that was very key. The other key thing for me was their wanting to purchase an event software package that will allow tracking of expenses of events and actually be able to provide us solid data where no one else was able to provide that. It would be exactly like we've been doing it in the past, with no accounting system, no structure, no anything. So we both felt that the chamber offered the best package to move this forward in the direction that we wanted to, as well as their availability. They're already out there marketing Grant County as it is, so this will just be a component of their marketing presentation as the conference center. So all of those things tied together, we felt this was the best proposal to move forward with.
We need to get someone, we start renting the place and getting it to bring us in some revenue.
General Services would continue to handle the rest of the properties.
Yes. Any other questions? And I will get you a copy of their proposal to look at before Thursday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Next item is item U, approve, disapprove February 2017 health plan claims, formerly known as the Indigent Fund, in the amount of $16,186.16. There are 14 claims to Gila Regional Medical Center in the amount of $15,419.10. There's one claim to Gila Regional Ambulance in the amount of $767.06, for a grand total of $16,186.16. Also, under your health plan claims board action is item V, approve, disapprove indigent burial from Bacchus Funeral Chapels. It's also included in your packets, and this would be in the amount of $600 as defined in state statute. Any questions or comments on those?
Don't know how they vary, but I guess that's the legal limit, huh?
We need them in the box. And then one last item is the commission will do the tour of the detention facility as required by statute on Thursday.
Okay. So we'll move along to county reports. I saw Mr. Ontiveros here earlier. I guess he has left the building. Didn't want to explain his last actions, I guess. So Joe, are you going to give us a report today?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. I'm Phil Spondazola. I'm the Deputy Administrator at the facility. I'll be giving the report today. Policies and procedures. The department policies and procedures are being revised and reviewed. Status remains the same. Detention facility update. The Grant County facility currently has one vacancy. Applicants' backgrounds are being conducted for the vacancy, and 2 applicants have accepted employment offers and will report to duty on April 3rd next month. Training update. Sergeant Galindo and Sergeant Fisher conducted PREA training for volunteers assigned to our programming activities. All volunteers and contract employees are required to attend this training and are currently scheduled. Myself and Sergeant Galindo are attending the NMAA-CIC intelligence training in Albuquerque later this month. This training is designated to instruct individuals in the latest trends of intelligence gathering techniques, which also has a corrections component given by the New Mexico Department of Corrections, their Security Threat Intelligence Unit. On intervention, the inmate support program, the committee members are meeting this month to discuss operational funding options, including nonprofit status for the program. In our recognition award program, this month, the detention center is recognizing the entire second shift, our evening shift, as employees of the month. The supervisors include Sergeant Fisher, Corporal Chappell, Officers Wildborn, North, Jurado, West, Lucero, and Quintana. These individuals have significantly improved their shift responsibilities, accepted additional duties, and include filling in during unexpected absences. Their commitment and dedication to the detention center is being recognized. Detention center statistics. The detention center has an average daily population from February 11th of 17 to March 15th of 17 of 94 inmates. Our high population was 22 females, and currently for March 15, 2017, there were 89 inmates booked into the facility. Between March 16th of 2016 and March 15th of 2017, the average daily population confined in the facility was 81. The average length of stay for this reporting period is 37.11 days. Current facility reports are available on the breakdown on the CJ5DA survey report in your packet. Monthly agency arrest totals for February of 2017 include 79 for the Silver City Police Department, 19 for the Sheriff's Department, 30 for New Mexico State Police, 12 for the Bayard Police Department, 1 for the Santa Clara Police Department, 6 for the Hurley Police Department, 2 for Game and Fish, 2 for Western New Mexico Police Department, and the facility is holding 3 prisoners from Hidalgo County. The detention center had 112 transports, which included 56 district court transports, 43 magistrate Division I transports, 4 Division II magistrate courts, 0 municipals for Silver City, 0 municipal for Santa Clara, 0 for Bayard Municipal, and during this time we had 9 medical transports. We currently have 30 probation violators and 0 parole violators. We have 5 inmates awaiting transport to the Department of Corrections or to rehabilitation centers, and total inmates charged with warrants are 48. Total number of special management inmates on March 15th is 10. Any questions?
Get off easy today, Joe. Earl, what's up?
I was over early yesterday, and they got the sewer line put in, and they were going to try and hook it up live either late yesterday evening or about 4 o'clock this morning. Once they get that done, they got a few manholes to take care of. They got the big drainage pipe put in already. So they should start to see something happening over there as far as them getting the road done, in other words. We were able to get over at Broken Arrow last week while school was out and replace that low water crossing that got washed away last summer. We've been working on patching, and we'll continue working on patching. We're slowly but surely getting caught up with it. We ran into a snafu over there at Tucasa on it, but I think we got everything resolved and should hopefully get started back over there tomorrow as far as building the road into that thing.
Found a little rock?
A little bit.
All we gotta do is look across the street.
Well, you would think.
You'd have known.
You would think.
Don't you love engineers and architects? They don't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah, but I think we got everything resolved on it. We'll see how it goes. Other than that, in Rosedale, Southwest finished their last pour yesterday. There is some money going to be left over on that project out of the base bid, so I am going to have them go ahead and utilize the rest of that money to install 2 more culverts down there on the south end of the project, and install the riprap, so I don't have to do it. I can go on and do other things on there.
Good. Any questions for Earl? Nope. Okay, Randy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I just want to give a big thank you to Bernadette, Robbie and Victor and Tisha for making sure that the gun show over at the convention center went off without a hitch. I think they worked really hard to make sure that that event took place, and so they deserve a lot of credit for that. Robbie and Victor worked the weekend, and of course Bernadette making sure that everything was in place, and Tisha making sure that the facility had the supplies that it needed for the 2-day event. So I really want to thank them publicly for that. Public Works or Maintenance Department and Grounds, we should have the new supervisor in this Monday. Start working with him, getting ready to transition from the winter to spring and summer with our units, and making sure that it's warm now, but we're probably going to get a couple of cold days still before we actually go to the cooling units, and so we'll be working on that. Baton Park, I don't know, Commissioners, if you've had some calls, but we've got people getting locked in the gates behind us. People that don't know, this park was granted funds for a walking park. It is not a park where you drive up in and have your cars parked to watch the games and all that. It's a walking park, and that's why the gates are locked. The reason for the gates being there is for the county to have maintenance equipment when they needed it to get in. Hence is the reason why the parking lot is so huge, because it's a walking park. So I know you're going to get calls. I'm getting calls from Little League and men's clubs and softball clubs and all that. I'm doing my best to try to figure out how we make this work for everybody. My concern is the safety of the young children that are playing there and that are playing baseball there and could be walking around. God forbid we have an accident there and wondering why we have vehicles inside the park. It is a walking park, so I want to make sure of that. So I'm trying to work that out with everybody, and hopefully we can solve that issue with everybody, even as we lease the facility out to people who use it on the weekends. Have we let people in there in the past? Yes. Was that the right thing to do? No. So with change, people get upset about that, but what I want to do is make sure that, the elderly can at least drive up and get into the facility and enjoy whatever event they're at, but to drop those people off, help them get out and get out of the park. Over the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've had to go late at night to open the gate for people to get out. I've had people bash the gate with the truck and just rip the whole thing off because they couldn't get out. So I just want to encourage people to make sure that they understand that the reason why the parking lot's so big is because it's a walking park. On the fire side, we're just getting ready for fire season with all the volunteers and making sure their equipment and all their resources are ready to go, working with the Forest Service as well. I'm hoping to have Gabe Holguin here in April at the April meeting to give us a forecast like he does every year and see where we're at with that. We did get the avgas fuel truck in at the airport to assist Forest Service in case we give a major fire. Most of their slurry, the smaller ones, take the avgas. So we got that truck in Friday. We're doing the inspection on it now and making sure that it's up and ready to go. I don't have anything else right now. Unless you have any questions, that's all I have.
Don't have any questions. Any questions?
Are we fully staffed down at the airport?
Yes, so we'll have an airport manager starting on May 1st.
Oh, you've hired one?
Yes.
Going to introduce us and tell us who it is? Keep us in the blind?
It's Rebecca Wagner. I didn't want to mispronounce her name, but she comes from us she has property here in Grant County. She's lived here before. She is currently working at the airport in Alaska. She has a lot of experience with the airport, and so she'll be coming on board May 1st. Hopefully we can get working with Mr. Salgado and Morrison and Grado out there to make sure that the inspection that comes in April, obviously she won't be here, that we get through that inspection without any flaws. Obviously, without an airport manager, I'm sure they'd understand that, but it doesn't mean that we should not be running the 139 airport like it's supposed to be run. So I'm working right now, spending a little bit more time out there to make sure that everything is in place when we don't know when the inspection is, usually late April. So hopefully once that happens, I'll come back with a report and make sure. On the fuel side as well, continuing to sell fuel, I will give a quarterly report on the fuel sales in April, because obviously the quarter ends the end of this month, and so I'll make sure I get you some numbers and see where we're at with our fuel charges and how we're moving forward with that.
Personally, I don't like an 8-week wait. I mean, if we've got an inspection in April, she should have been here for that inspection.
I think it was the distance, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Ramos, I think it was just the distance of having her to get here was going to take a while. And then I think as any other, same with the maintenance supervisor, in their previous employment, they had to give a 30-day notice of employment that they would be leaving their current employment, and that's probably what the main reason is.
So 30, not 60.
30. Yeah. I mean, yeah, 30 days, sorry.
Interviews as she's finalizing up some of her, closing out some of her grants and finishing up some of her responsibilities there that she didn't want to leave hanging and leave that airport in limbo. That was the other thing that was mentioned.
So therefore, we've got to wait.
Okay, Misha?
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. I'll start with the solar for the county buildings. We're still moving forward with that. Randy and I have had some conversations with another group, Energy Controls, that's on state contract, state procurement, on doing an audit of all of our buildings, and so we're working with them so that they're aware of the solar aspect too, so they can take that into consideration. When Jason comes on board, we'll get Jason up to speed on those audits and working with the Energy Controls. So we're going to try to do energy audits for all of the county buildings that go beyond just the solar. You got a little bit of info on Tucasa, so I won't mention much. You guys know about the road, but right now, working with Bernadette and the Chamber, hopefully, tentatively, we do have a groundbreaking set up for April 19th, but we'll keep you guys all informed on how that progresses. LS Mesa, we do have a field meeting. Randy and I will be out there on Thursday, but the better weather I know has enabled them to get up to the site and keep that moving forward. Santa Rita Fire Station, with the session ending, I informed ASA Architects to get that ready to go out to bid again. So we'll get that moving here pretty quickly so we can get it out to bid.
Did they address the culvert issue?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Comprehensive land use plan, I should be getting some drafts of the chapters for my review starting today, and as that moves forward, the commission will be getting drafts to look at also as we move forward with the comprehensive land use plan. A little bit of information on the airport. Randy and I have been working with Bohannon on a backup generator for the terminal. That backup generator cost is about $82,000. The FAA will come in, we hope, we have to apply for it, but they will come in with a significant portion that leaves the cost to the county at about $3,500 for that backup generator. However, the AWAS system, which is, according to what I've been told, is a little bit more important for pilot safety. The cost for that is $66,000. It also needs a backup generator for when we lose power. The FAA will not contribute to that one. We can get some state contribution, so the cost to the county for that one would be $59,000. And so we're in the process of looking at if we can even make that one work. We know we can get the terminal backup generator, going, but the one for the AWAS system, which again is more important for pilot safety, we just have to find the funds to do it. So just want to give you guys a heads up on that. Lower Members, Faywood Volunteer Fire Department, we're also working with BHI on a design of a 40,000 gallon water storage tank with I think there's 2 hydrants on that one per the state fire marshal's requirements. That is a partial grant and partial fire funds that will be going towards that one. And then Colonias, I'll be presenting to the Colonias board on March 29th in Las Cruces. We are asking for $700,000 in funding to finish the Rosedale Road drainage project that Earl was just mentioning that we're getting close to finishing up. That's all I've got. If you have any questions.
Unless you have anything today, you want to save it for Thursday?
Short and sweet. More bad news. I'm the bearer of bad news. I did send you out an initial email about security rural schools cut from the federal government, which Actually, that went away in 2016, so they revert back to the Forest Reserve distribution. We are seeing a loss of revenue for this year in the amount of $307,847. We will receive a whopping $12,000 payment this year. Linda and I are sorting things through in the budget to shift things around and try to make that as minimally painful as possible. As you all know, the strange legislative session wrapped up on Saturday. Right now, our county funds are okay, but special session looming in the future, they'll be up for grabs again, so.
Special session, due.
Yes. We will be releasing bids for the audit next week, and we've also sent out budget request information to all the department heads, so we'll start working on the budget, and we'll actually do a public hearing with you the first part of April. So they will come and present that to you, open to the public for transparency purposes. A little different than what we've done in the past. So that's it.
Okay. So, that's the end of county reports. Just to go over a little bit on what we're going to do on Thursday, we are going to recess and reconvene at the detention center, where for new commissioners, you should get with Charlene or Mike and make sure what apparel you should wear, what the decorum is when you're in the detention center, specifically when you're in view of inmates. I'm sure that these guys will give us a short preview before we go in there. But there's some things. I mean, these people have rights also, and it's not like a fishbowl. That's not why we're there. So that being said, does anybody else have anything else before we leave? Okay, I take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes.